Hey guys, what's up? How y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys a recap on the new chapter of One Piece, which is on chapter 1023. This chapter right here was actually pretty crazy. There's a lot of things I had to reread in order to understand something after reading the comments and discussions in a certain chapter. And dang, this is crazy, you know? So if anything else, let's just get this started. We have to it that the chapter opens up with Zoro and Sanji getting ready to go against the two All-Stars, Queen and King, you know? And we had to it that many people decides to stop the subordinates of King and Queen to not allow them to interfere. Hyogoro says, whatever you guys do, do not let anyone to interfere with their duel. But they go, and as Hyogoro commands his subordinates to do so, they say, dude, they're fighting up against the All-Stars. It doesn't matter if it's... Although Hyogoro says, I don't care, friend or foe, there's no place for meddling in that fight. When I look at the expressions, we would only get in their way. Not to mention, they want this to happen. And then Marco ends up remembering his conversation with Pops, you know, which is Whitebeard. Where Marco talks to Whitebeard about like a distant past, where back then when God's land was there, you know. And we had to it that Marco gets saved by Izo, who asks him a question like, hey, do you believe in God? And he goes like, I think you're sounding like Pops when he was drunk or something, you know? And we had to that Queen ends up saying, yo, if you really want to take us down, you're going to have to put your backs into it. That didn't even hurt a dang bit. The drought, the plague, and the wildfire. The three of us are known as Kaido-san's calamities for a reason. Why do you think we are called unstoppable toughness when they are called us all-stars? And we had to Zoro ask Sanji, hey, what's the matter? He says, nothing. It's just since my second time using the raid suit, I've been feeling a little off. He said, and Zoro's like, you're not going to slow me down, are you? He said, no, idiot. My body just feels odd. And we had to it that Zoro clashes against King, you know, stopping his sword. And Sanji ends up stopping Queen's bridal claw, you know. And they end up saying, you owe me one, as Zoro says it, and Sanji's like, now we're even, since he saved freaking Zoro from Queen's attack. We had to it that Queen's like, I remember now, all the judges' brats are enhanced. That crazy punk, that burning leg of yours is some kind of augmentation, right? And Sanji's like, I hate to break it to you, but I'm a regular human unlike my siblings. And Queen's like, are you stupid? What kind of human can burst into flames? It's not like you're a Lunarian, and I guess that means he mentions King as a Lunarian, which I don't really know what that means. But if you look at if you separate the words, right, Luna and Narian, and when it comes to Luna, sometimes it can mean moonlight or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but whatever the case may be, it looks like King is a Lunarian. But we had to it going back to the chapter right now. Sanji tells Queen it's possible because my passions burn hotter than any real flame could. Cooking up sea beasts is my specialty, you dino punk. And Queen's like, yeah? Well, I'll show you how devastating my cybernetic enhancements can be. They're so advanced even Vegapunk can't match them. Even when I think about when Queen says that means he's not someone to be messed with, you know? So I guess this would be a big fight for Sanji himself. As for Zoro facing against King, we had to it that Zoro's sword gets a little stuck in King's blade, and King tries to attack Zoro with the bloody knuckle punch, you know, or a sharp punch. But we had to it that Zoro's like, I get it, you're just a bloodthirsty brute, and King's like, I've never understood why anyone would stick to traditional forms and techniques in a real battle. I just don't understand that. And Zoro gets his swords back and says, yeah, I guess you have a point. You never claimed to be a swordsman after all. Have it your way. Just remember, when it comes down to it, I might be willing to bite through your throat too. I can't afford to lose here. And I'm pretty sure he said the same thing he said that to Pika, you know? That's a big reference right there, because Zoro, his goal is to be the world's greatest swordsman, and his real final goal is Mihawk himself, the guy who he trained with for 2 years, you know, etc. And we had to it that Kawamatsu talks to Hyogoro and tells him, hey, you know when Hiyori-sama offered that man Emma, there was a reason why I didn't protest too hard, right? And Hyogoro's like, right, I see it too. It's it's peculiar that he may be a foreign pirate, but he reminds me so much of the former daimyo of the Ringo when he was so young. And Kawamatsu says, yeah, he and Shimotsuki and Ushimaru are like two peas in a pod. Right down to their sword handling, it's uncanny, you know? And they end up talking about how Ushiwaru-sama was a fantastic swordsman, a direct descendant of the god of the blade Shimotsuki Ruma. And this young man who was the one to finally return Shusui to Wano, it must be fate or something. After all, Yuruma was a one-eyed samurai. So when it comes to one-eyed samurai and comparing it to Zoro, I guess it's almost clear that Zoro might have originated from Wano, you know? And not to mention, like, and Ryuma was a one-eyed samurai. So Zoro being a one-eyed samurai or something, not to mention him returning Shusui, it is almost connected and hopefully it'll be confirmed, I don't know, maybe Oda might troll us or something, that Zoro might be a big descendant to Ryuma, which is his ancestor or great-grandfather. We don't know. We'll have to find out. Whatever. But we have to go to a scene where Inugarashi faces Jack head-on, you know? And we had to it, Jack says, you know, you must be getting tired. I'll put you to sleep forever, Duke of that day. There's no need to draw this out. I've already forgiven you for lying to me about the samurai. Your country's paid the price for sheltering him anyway. And Inugarashi grabs Jack's tusk and throws him out and says, if we sold out Raizo, it would have been impossible to make us back to Wano. Everything we went through since the day Oden-sama left us was to get to this point. He throws Jack out, etc. And we remember, like, we see a flashback where Inugarashi says, I swear to God, I don't know this Raizo. If he's here, I'll slice open my own stomach, you know, that kind of thing. And we had to it, Inugarashi says, since that day 20 years ago, we've tormented ourselves with the same questions. Are things different now? Do we have the right to claim to be Oden's samurai? And Jack's like, how? How are you in your Sulong form? And he realizes, oh crud, there's a hole in the roof. And we had to it that, like, we see a flashback where Ashura sacrificed himself to make a hole in the roof, you know, to, like, stop Kanjuro to, like, hurt any of his friends. And we had to it, Inugarashi enters his Sulong form and says, we endured a lot to reach this decisive battle. Our millennia-old city was razed to the ground, but the dawn of the new world is finally upon us. We don't care if we had to lay down our lives to usher it in. We had to it that Peril's Peril is sent outside right now, and Nekomamushi tells Peril's Peril, without Pedro, Luffy and the others would never have made it here. The raid would have failed for sure. And we had to it that the moonlight activates on Nekomamushi underneath him, above him, and Peril's Peril's like, great, it's your Sulong form. And we had to it that Nekomamushi tells Pedro, pour yourself a drink and watch. This is the last moon the last moon Yugara will ever see. Big tongue. And we had to it, Raizo continues to fight against the leader of Orochi's ninja army whatsoever. And we had to it, he goes like, you guys are ghosts are a joke. Oden is dead and you serve a stupid child, you know? He even tells Raizo, everyone needs time to mature. Even us misfits eventually became samurai. And Raizo says, Wano itself will shape Momonosuke-sama's growth. We won't let you take that hope away. And we go back to Udon Tokage Port. And we see freaking Momonosuke in his freaking adult dragon form, dude. And we had to it that Lao's subordinate says, hey, Luffy, get back. It's dangerous. And we had to it that, like, Luffy remembers something and says, I am not your snack. If you attempt to eat me, I will devour you whole. Brace yourself. And Luffy's like, are you Momo? And Momo's like, yeah, that's me. They go like, what? The kid was just here. How in the world? And we have to it that Shinobu tells everyone, I followed Momonosuke-sama's orders. I aged him till he was 28 years old. And Luffy's like, I didn't know you could do that. Why are you crying though? And Shinobu says, because Momonosuke-sama, you just look like, and then Luffy says, Momo, let's go back to Wano. And Momonosuke says, yeah, let's do this, you know? And the chapter ends up there. Dude, Oda is literally putting out a lot of crazy information in this chapter, you know? The one where Marco talks about God, you know? And then freaking like Vegapunk about Queen's enhancement, you know? Etc. And Lunarian. It looks like to me King is a Lunarian, etc. Since Queen mentioned it. He says, what else can a human do to burn flames on his body, you know? That's crazy. And etc. As for Zoro, he is possibly, and I think it's kind of somewhat confirmed, that he is possibly the descendant of Ryuma, you know? And Zoro might be from Wano itself, because Kawamatsu and Hyogoro were talking a theory about how, like, Zoro reminds of a young Daimon in the Ringo when he was young. Not to mention Zoro returned Shusui, you know, and all that, etc. And not to mention, like, Ryuma is known to be a one-eyed samurai, which is like a connection to Zoro because he's one-eyed. He lost an eye, and Ryuma's called a one-eyed samurai for a reason, you know, that kind of thing, etc. And you know that, like I said, and repeating myself again, Zoro might be from Wano all this time. We don't know why he was sent to the East Blue where Luffy was at and recruited him, you know. But that aside, yeah. You know, the fight with Inugarashi, making his speech saying that we're gonna keep going and gonna see the new dawn of the new era, you know. As for Nekomamushi, he makes a speech where he tells Pedro, watch one last time as I avenge your death or something, you know. And Momonosuke, he literally grew into full dragon mode. Full freaking dragon mode, dude. Almost looking like Kaido. He almost looks like freaking Kaido, dude. That's crazy. Not to mention, Shinobu used her powers to transform Momonosuke to 28 years old. That's even more insane. So, we're getting close, man. I can't wait to see the rematch with Luffy and Kaido, and I don't know how Yamato is doing, but we'll have to see, you know? So, until then, people, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Toot-toot-toot.